Welcome back to another episode of the Fatherhood Experience, where we help dads become better dads. We are your hosts, Jason Priest and Zach Smith, and we have a fantastic episode for you guys today. If you're brand new to the show, we have a few different segments that we do. Some of them are a long-form interview. Some of our shows are going to be about topics that are current events, right? We break down some of the stuff that's impacting the lives of fathers all around our country. Today, we are going to do a segment called Q&S, which is essentially a Q&A style format. However, instead of just giving you an answer, we want to provide you with a true solution. So that is what Q&S stands for. So we do have a couple different formats. If you're brand new, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate your support. And if you're a longtime listener, thank you for showing up every week and following along with our journey as we continue to try to make the biggest impact we possibly can in the male obesity epidemic in our country and raise the standards of fathers far and wide. So, Zach, what's up, dude? I'm excited for today. I like this new format, and I'm excited to go over some of these questions. I know you don't even know the questions, which is the fun part. So let's dive in, dude. What's up?
Yeah, man, not much. I actually like this. I like this format, man, because this is where we thrive. This is our expertise, I guess we could say. So this is just extra credit. This is fun. So
yeah, no, I get it.
Hop right into it, man.
You know, fun for me is getting heated about shit that's going on in the world because I don't have many outlets for it. But no, I'm with you, dude. This is our wheelhouse. I appreciate it because we're able to help guys at a higher level, dude. We're able to help guys with true real world questions that we're getting in our community. We're getting via email. We're getting on the podcast, right? And so if you guys do have questions and you want us to answer them, send those into info@thefatherhoodexperience.com or go down into the reviews section. Give us a quick rating and review. If you love the show, a 5-star rating would be great. But if you give us a quick review and you leave a topic suggestion, that's another place that you can also suggest things or ask us a question that we will answer live on the show. So for today, dude, I'm gonna start right off the top so we can dive in, dude. I'm excited to jump in. Our first question today is from Eddie, and this is actually one of our community members. I know Eddie well. He says, "Should I be incorporating supplements into my plan?" And that was basically it. And so we have context on Eddie, but what I want you to do is give the guys out there a solution that might not necessarily have the context of Eddie, because you and I know that he's been putting in a lot of work and we know what he's doing, the actions that he's taken. So do guys need supplements in order to achieve the results that they're after?
Okay, so the short answer is no, absolutely not. Supplements. So remember this, guys. It's not called requirements. They're called supplements. They're supposed to supplement an already good nutrition plan, but nothing can replace quality sleep. Nothing can replace hard work in the gym. Nothing can replace stress management, practices. None of that stuff. Look, we could talk about ashwagandha that helps with stress relief. We could talk about protein powder that supplements, obviously protein. We could talk about all that stuff. We could talk about how that's going to help with the anabolic effect, the hypertrophic effect that you were trying to produce when you're working out in the gym. But again, if you don't take any supplements whatsoever, you're going to get outstanding results as long as you have a good plan. So remember that first and foremost. Supplements are called supplements because they are supplemental, not required. Mm-hmm. Can they help you? 100%. But remember, guys, we want to use them as an aid, as a tool, something that's going to boost and accelerate our progress forward versus trying to play catch up because you're deficient in certain things because you don't have a good nutrition plan, right? Now, there are particular supplements that are going to be more helpful than others. And in general, there's a shit ton of supplements that are pretty much useless, to be completely honest with you. And here's the kicker. Here's the reason why you have to be very selective about what it is that you use. Not only are a lot of the supplements shitty, fat burners, for instance, HMB, whatever the hell that was, they're just like all kind. The list goes on with supplements that are pretty much useless. You're going to get 0.001% effective use and you're going to spend like $60 on it. It's dumb. It's pointless. Mm-hmm. So not only are most supplements pretty much shit, but they've also, this is a brand new study. Don't quote me on this because I didn't actually read into it, but they did a random study taking about, I think it was 30 different supplements on Amazon. They bought them and they tested them for their dosages. Dude, they found out that I think it was like 17 or half of those supplements had shit in it that wasn't even listed on the label. And there was a bunch of the other ones that it did have what was on the label. However, it was dosed incorrectly or whatever it was. The problem is in the supplemental industry is that it is not an FDA regulated industry.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say that, hey, I'm selling belt buckles or I'm selling protein powder, but I can have like 50% belt buckles in there, nobody cares. It could be 50% creatine in my protein powder. It could be 50% baby powder. Who knows? The problem is if it's not an FDA regulated facility that it's being made in, you can't guarantee what's inside of it. So not only are a lot of the products not even worth it, some of the products that actually are worth it might not even contain what it is that you're purchasing. So you have to be very, very careful when selecting supplements, but remember that we need to use them to aid an already good plan, not to fill in the holes necessarily. So for example, I take a multivitamin, right? Do I need to take one in order for me to be healthy? No, because for the most part, I eat whole nutritious foods. Now, the problem is I'm not going to eat the whole array of foods that I need to eat every single day, right? I'm not eating they like to say, eat the rainbow in terms of, fruits and vegetables. But dude, do you know how many fruits and vegetables would go bad in my house if I was trying to do that all the time? Because those things have a very, very short shelf life. So what I do is I use supplements as they should be used, supplementally. So I use it as an insurance policy to fill in the gaps where I would otherwise be lacking for that particular day, because I don't eat eggplants and apples and bananas and mangoes and bok choy and all these other fruits and vegetables every single day, because that's first and foremost, it's very hard to do. Second, like
Yes.
I said, I'm not a wasteful person. So I'm not going to buy a ton of stuff just to throw away half of it because I tried, you know what I mean? So I use it as an insurance policy just to fill in the gaps in my already good nutrition plan. Now, can it be helpful like a greens powder? Because I know you're a big proponent in that. That's something that you take yourself, and so do I. Can it be helpful for those who just hate vegetables? That's a whole nother topic that we've talked about before. But yeah, it can be helpful because something is better than nothing. But just remember, it's a supplement, not a requirement. So that big old long spiel, that's my take. No, you don't need it. Yes, it can be helpful, but be careful what you buy and who you buy it from.
Love it, dude. No, that's good shit. I really don't have a lot to add there. You kind of threw mine in there as well. And the reality is I don't take many supplements, man. Like anybody that's followed me for a while knows that I do the modified intermittent fasting. And so if you want to call my 10 grams of whey protein in the morning a supplement, go for it. Aside from that though, my supplements are mostly specifically related to just long-term health, like longevity, right? You mentioned the greens powder. It fills the gap. We've talked about it on the show before, but there is research that shows that the soil depletion is a real thing, and the greens that we eat, even the bioorganic, they don't have the nutrients that they once did. And so I'd rather be safe than sorry there. So I do take a greens powder. In terms of other supplements, I do supplement with a little bit of magnesium, a little bit of zinc, and a little bit of vitamin D3. And I also supplement with some turmeric, but those are things that aren't necessarily related to my fitness goals, right? Those are related to just thriving, right? Me being a healthy individual from top to bottom and making sure that I'm got all my ducks in a row. I will tell you this, when I first got married to my wife, she used to make fun of me all the time. And this was a nutrition major. She was a nutrition major who decided that she did not want to be a dietitian anymore because she could not go into hospital rooms where people didn't give a shit about their health and try to counsel them on nutrition. Here's your prescribed diet when you go home, even though you don't give a shit because you're 350 pounds right now. That she bailed on that real quick and decided to change her major and became a pharmacist instead, which I'm very, very happy for her because she does not thrive in that environment. With that said, though, she used to make fun of me all the time because when we first got married, I had it in my mind that I needed all the vitamins, right? Like I got to make sure that I got all my vitamins. Dude, I had it all. I had it lined up in my bathroom on my sink. A, B, C, D, E, all of them. And she's like, well, what
looking like a 70-year-old with like eight conditions,
I was
right?
the 70-year-old pills, taking fucking 8 pills a day. And so yeah, I'm out. Again, like I've talked about before, I'm the minimalist guy, dude. I want to do the minimum and get the maximum results. And so what you said about supplements, protein, creatine, all these things that can be beneficial, but you 100% don't need them. So moving on to question number 2. Question number 2 is from a gentleman named Will. And question number 2 reads, I'm seeing great results. And I think this guy, he's actually in our FFA program. He's a madman on the curriculum. He's like, I'm seeing great results, but I still have some fat on my lower back and abdominal area. Am I doing something wrong? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay.
What kind of solution can we give to Will?
Yeah, first and foremost, this is an extremely common question because most people don't understand what exactly or how exactly fat is burned off of the body. Now, first and foremost, right off the bat, I want to differentiate the difference between men and women in regards to how they burn fat. Now, why this is the way, to be honest with you, I'm not sure, but if I had to take my biggest guess, it would have to do with survivability and reproductive, your ability to reproduce. So for women, generally speaking, now again, generally speaking, because genetics always come into play, women will lose weight from the top down. So that's why it's very common to see ladies who are very thin on the upper body and then they're a little bit bigger on the hip area, obviously, because when they go through puberty, their hips get widened for bearing children. So, like I said, that's my best guess as to why they burn fat differently. So that's how women burn fat. Now, for men, we generally, again, burn weight from the outside in. So we're talking about extremities first, right? Your fingers, forearms, biceps. That's why there's some guys who are like, hey, they have decent shaped arms, yet they have this big old pot belly. So this is how it works for most guys. Now, again, genetics come into play. I know guys who have a skinny face, skinny legs, skinny arms, and a huge belly area, right? Whereas myself, again, genetics come into play. If I gain 10 pounds, I look like my face blew up. I gain fat very equally throughout the entirety of my body, but in general, it's the outside in. So if you feel like you're not losing weight on your lower ab area or your lower back, which is extremely common, we hear it all of the time. The reason being is you just are not skinny enough. And I don't want to say skinny, you're not lean enough. You haven't burned enough fat off of your body. So if you feel like it's still there and you're not happy with how you look, the answer is continue to lose fat, because we all know it was an old myth back in the days. Spot reduction. Let's do 1,000 abs, ab crunches every single day so that I can have abs. That's not the way it will work. Now, I will tell you that the abs do have the ability to grow just like any other muscle, but they have a much more limited growth potential. So will your abs show if you work out a lot of direct ab exercises? Will they show at a little bit higher body fat percentage? Sure. But the bottom line is they will not reveal themselves until you lose enough fat so that they do, because everybody has a 6-pack or a 4-pack or an 8-pack, depending on your genetics. The problem is it's covered by a layer of fat. How much fat? That's going to be dependent upon you as an individual. But but if you don't see the abs, or if you're seeing a lot of fat, like you're having that muffin top, you just got to get leaner, period.
Yep. Love it, dude. And I've shared this analogy on the show before, but I'm going to bring it up again. Like even a world-class athlete, somebody like Calvin Johnson. All right. Yes, I'm a Lions fan, and we finally have a little bit of something to be excited about. I'm excited about next year. I'm finally bought back in as a football fan.
Good for you.
Dude, like it's been brutal, man. Like I was a diehard my whole life. And over the last several years, I've checked out. And now they've got my attention again. However, with that said, I don't let it consume my life anymore like I used to. And I'm just in a different stage of life. So if you guys are getting hammered drunk every weekend watching football, thinking that that's your entertainment and that's you're just drowning out your reality, man, I get it. I was there once too. And there's a lot more to life than dedicating your 12 hours a week to fucking football and fantasy football and everything that comes along with that. And don't tell me that I'm an asshole for stealing your joy either, because if you don't have a purpose in life, like I didn't, then that might be tempting for you. So do better. That's all I'm saying. You can do better. With that said, though, Calvin Johnson I think the guy ran like a fucking 4.3 something 40, dude. 6'5" beast of a man. We all know that he's one of the greatest to ever do it. And some will call him the most physically gifted receiver of all time. And even him, dude, on that lower back area that's on our sides there, right? Like the muffin top piece. Even he had a decent amount of noticeable fat there that it didn't hang over. He was lean and ripped. He still had a 6-pack, but he even had some fat accumulation. Sorry, my dog's fucking over here crazy.
I heard that.
He even had some fat accumulation there. I also told this story before, but I want to tell you, you mentioned the genetics thing. When I worked out at 24-Hour Fitness many, many years ago, there's a few bodybuilders that worked out there. It was an older 24-Hour Fitness, had a little bit of a bodybuilder following. And there was a dude there that we used to call turtle shell abs because he was fat. He had an abdomen that pushed out, dude. Like it was It was not a flat stomach. It pushed out, and homie had visible abs, but he had worked his abs so much that it was just pushing out the fat.
That's by the way, that's another thing though. That's a certain type of PED that we won't get into.
It's wild,
that
dude. I'm like,
it's called bubble gut is what they call it.
What's going on here? Yeah. So anyway,
PEDs is going on there.
All that to say, no. The answer is no. Will, you're not doing anything wrong. What you are doing is a lot that's right. And the fact that you have that concern means you're doing the right things, because you're starting to notice areas of your body that are leaning down, right? You're starting to see the changes. You've been on a roll, dude. I know you're on fire lately. So just keep up the good work. That's all we can tell you to do. Next and final question number 3 is from a gentleman named Steve. He reached out and says he's just getting his started on his journey. And he's running into quite a few roadblocks, like we all do, man. Like when you're just starting and you don't have all the knowledge and all that, it's tough. He says, I've been running into a lot of roadblocks. What was the hardest part for you, or what was the hardest thing for you to figure out to get from where you're at right now, or to get from where you were at 60 pounds overweight to where you are right now, lean and strong and healthy? What was the most challenging thing for you to figure out in the beginning when you did start to hit a lot of those roadblocks, like we all do?
I would say, for me, I would say it has to be nutrition, because nutrition is something that you have to do multiple times per day. There's a lot of nuance that goes into it.
A lot of room for error.
There's a lot of, there's a lot of room for error. There's a lot of research behind what is optimal, what's not optimal, what's right, what's wrong. Like the internet is a great place for information, but it's a great place to find misinformation too. So I was just doing the bro thing, right? Now, if you're a bro in the gym, you can still work out hard. And we talked about this on the last one, right? You're still going to get results because you can't out science hard work sometimes, right? However, you can accidentally undereat. You can accidentally not get enough protein. You can accidentally get in great shape, but be deficient in vitamins and minerals. And you can, there's a lot of things that you can do while you look great on the outside can potentially be kind of unhealthy on the inside, right? And it goes the other way around too. There can be an obese person who, at least at this particular time in life, if they're relatively young, be healthy on paper, but obviously they're going to be healthy because they're eating a lot more food. Whereas the skinny person's eating less. So guess what? When you're eating less food, you're prone to deficiencies because you're just not consuming as many calories. That's just the way it goes. So nutrition is very hard, not only because you have to do it multiple times a day, but because you have to do it consistently over the course of a long amount of time. Because I had like 60 pounds to lose, dude. You know how long that takes to burn off, right? At least in a sustainable manner. So of all of the things that I think that I dealt with, I think nutrition was probably the hardest one, just because of all the nuance, how consistent you have to be, and also all of the changes and deviations within my schedule every day while I was working in the corporate world that made it harder for me to stick to a diet regimen. If I had to go out here, I had to stay with a client there, I had a deal that lasted me 8 hours. Sometimes you could eat a lot. Sometimes you don't have any time whatsoever. I've worked 16 plus hour shifts from the morning all the way to past midnight, just trying to close deals. Dude, I had hardly any time to eat. So what did I have to do? I just had to stuff my face with whatever the hell I could. So sometimes that's what happens. So nutrition is very, very hard. Very, very, very hard when it comes to this things, just because it's multiple times a day over the course of a lot of time. And there's so many curveballs that get thrown your way that can kind of throw your schedule off.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. For me, man, I'll be honest, for me, it was aligning my priorities with the man that I wanted to become, right? So nutrition being one of them, and cutting through all the noise, working through all the moving parts, the shiny object syndrome, the fad diet, the this, the that, and realizing that hard work was going to be the number one thing that was going to get me to where I needed to be. And then for me, the second thing that was the hardest was time management. I had to pick and choose my battles, like most dads do. And I became very good at not talking myself out of a workout and instead doing a 10 to 15 minutes of something rather than doing nothing at all and letting that deflate me. If I got that box checked for the day, I could move on knowing that I got a win for the day. I tried to talk myself out of it. I still got a 10 to 15 minute workout in. And now I didn't do this overkill workout that was kept me in the gym for an hour and a half. And I have time for my family. I have time for my kids. I have time to do the things that I enjoyed, instead of dedicating my entire life to this process that may or may not work, right? The 3 hours of workouts, the torture sessions, the keto this, the keto that, the strict and rigid approaches that are out there. That's what I wanted to avoid, because I tried a lot of that in the beginning and they weren't working for me. And so I learned by trial and error and falling on my face, like a lot of guys do. You got to fail forward. But failure is how we learn, man. And so for me, it was aligning my priorities with the man I knew I wanted to become, a healthy, strong individual instead of a fat and low energy individual. And then also time management, learning to manage my time based on those priorities, right? Sleep. I know I needed a good amount of sleep. I knew I needed to manage my stress. I knew I needed to plan out and at least have a plan for my meals, not necessarily meal prep. And then I knew I needed to get in at least a 10 to 15 minute workout each day with the hopes of doing more of a 45 to an hour if I had that time or I could make that time for the day. And so it's about figuring out little, like you said, nuances. There's a lot of nuances with nutrition, but there's also a lot of nuances with time management. Where can you get little time management victories that keep you moving forward? You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%, dude. It's hard. It's difficult. It's something that you have to do, like
I
I said,
hard, dude.
times a day over a long amount of time in order for you to get the results that you truly want, dude. So for me, it's extremely hard, dude. Extremely.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. No, this was those are good, dude. You guys, if you have questions, again, send those into info@thefatherhoodexperience.com or go into the review section and just drop us a review and then leave a question, man, and we'll get that answered for you in one of our future Q&S episodes, man. But if you got any value today, the only thing we ask is share the show, dude. Share it with one guy in your life who you think would benefit from the valuable information we're bringing you guys on a week-to-week basis, man. Get out there and crush it this week. Today is Momentum Monday, dude. So make this week count, dude. We'll see you guys next week in our next episode. If you have any questions, again, email them over to info@thefatherhoodexperience.com. Go down into the show notes. Click on those links if you want to get more information on our programs, get more information on our free program. We have a free 60-day program called LP60. Go into the show notes, grab LP60 and get started now, dude. We're already through January. It's time to make big moves now so that you guys can have the best year of your lives when it comes to health. So go out and get better this week. We'll see you guys in our next episode. Take care.